been the same Rogue we saw at SI. You know, their game against EXG on border to come back from SI on that first Monday, our very first play day of the second half. Rogue against EXG, it was Rogue taking it 7-3 on border as well. So I'm surprised by that community vote, but you never know. It is fandom-driven. And our first ban of the evening will be a Glaz, following suit with what we've seen a lot in North America, and a Ying.
Yeah, we're going to go through with the bans here. Glaz, Ying removed. Not surprising, even though Glaz Ying is no longer a thing. You know, remove the Glaz and I'll have to deal with her, but it affects both teams. Ying, you can call it as more of a specific ban against Slash, but in general, it's just an operator you don't want to deal with. Maestro and Echo ban at the end. Look at this. There's nothing special at it. So, Glaz, Ying, Echo, and Maestro.
Yeah, this is pretty standard. Nothing too crazy. It will leave the Mira still in play, and there was a lot of contention. So our last broadcast was Latin America last Wednesday, where we saw a lot of CCTV holds with Mira on border come out of the woodwork. That is a strategy we haven't seen, honestly, and I want to say about 6 months. And it just came out full force. All the games, I think it was both the games that we saw on border.
Let's go back to game, but
yeah,
it's a bit odd to see it because if you don't commit to CCTV, and I know some people have commitment issues. I get you. That's fine. It happens to everyone. It's a phase everybody goes through. But you can't do it in Pro League, man.
It's not a phase, Mom.
Yeah. So, all right. This is like your goth years. All right. Well, continue on with the matchup here. But really, it's a strategy that works. And I wouldn't be surprised if it does get played just because Mira isn't banned here. But both teams have pretty good Mira players. Easily on the side is pretty darn good, to say the least. So how are they going to set this up? There's an ADS to help them out inside of the desk. They're looking for some drones here and there. Clyde not in play, but still not really a big operator you require here, especially looking at NA where Thatcher is such a big pick, right?
Well, my biggest concern for Easily is the last couple of weeks, while Rogue have been trending in a better direction than they had at the Six Invitational in Montreal, Easily's anchor play really has not been that strong. He's been dying extremely early, in most cases, honestly, being the first pick out the gate against Rogue. That's not what you want from your hard anchor on site multiple times over, and Easily has demonstrated plenty of times in his storied history, his clutch potential, and having him be removed from play almost halfway through a round on average, not a good start for the Rogue team. So they're going to have to focus on Easily, I guess, playing a little more reserved and not taking over-aggressive chances. But Necrox will start things off on the Jackal, heading into break room, find some footsteps, and he'll isolate one player sitting on site for Rogue.
Yeah, they want to try to push people away from offices. EG are looking, well, asking why?
I think Parker noted on the broadcast last week that this is his 5th name in Pro League.
Why?
Hey, man, let him do his thing.
What does it even mean? Does anybody speak Spanish?
I think someone said it was an anime character.
Oh my god. Weeb alert!
This is a precarious situation here for Vertical, laying prone underneath the radio desk window as MVK was just outside his purview on the other side of a wooden barricade for a good 30 seconds, and now he'll continue to bash open the window and waiting for Vertical to spring up. He's got 3 members of Evil Geniuses all stacked out on the balcony, and not a single member of Evil Geniuses seems to be aware of Vertical's positioning. Necrox, though, will slowly push in through the main hallway. A drone will spot Vert, and he's pressed right up against the window, but continuing to fight. Young will take a lot of damage in the background, and now a pinch coming in onto Vertical, still up against this window frame, darting back and forth, and he'll take down NVK, but as he tries to escape to safety, Necrox will cut him down for the immediate trade.
A very good trade-off here. Eclipse, though, the fire from below, Canadian taken away as well. The Buck unable to do any damage from the bottom side. There's no reinforcements being used in the break room either, so this kind of opens things up for a potential rotation hold from Evil Geniuses. Now, Necrox drops down a bit too late here to catch off the Valkyrie, but Eclipse is still there, and they really cannot just find him. In the meantime, Geo trying to set up his frag grenade, but he's going to get spotted the last second. There's nobody now in Fountain, and he does realize it. So, last time to ping the Valkyrie as she runs all the way away, and Necrox unable to find her as he blends in so well. Slash will find the kill. The Vigil moving around the entire map, not allowing any of his opponents to get a beat on.
Not a lot of progression here as Young will be down and finished off by Slash, and now it's all up to Necrox pushing up Metal. Beautiful shots onto Eclipse. Won't finish him off, and easily staying reserved, staying alive. Be that stoic anchor on site and round it out. And Rogue will take the first round on defense on Border. Not dissimilar to the first time these two teams met in the first half on Border.
Yeah. And, you know, in that match between these two teams, EG holds a tiebreak, which is why we're saying, you know, not only does Rogue have to win here, but they have to win by a margin, just in case. Because even if they tie in points against EG, they have a final play date that they can't play on week 14. You know, they have to put everything into perspective. It's that bigger picture, and that's the job of course, the coach and analyst team to kind of work on this and have all of it in their minds. So, in the words of Rogue's players themselves, maybe Tristan will do something for once. That's it.
Thank God.
Rogue will go down to the workshop and to ventilation. In the previous setup that they had, you saw they had a half reinforced wall on the armory, half wall as well on the desk, full wall in playing inside of archives, and a completely soft wall inside of the a fountain. Same thing for CCTV. They just had little reinforcements that were used around the entire site. Now, what are we going to do with this setup here, Flynn?
Well, this is a little interesting. You've got, yeah, honestly, this is a bit of a throwback setup. This is their old setup. I believe they brought this out for the first time at Atlantic City, the Season 7 finals. I believe they ripped this out against Norango. If not, it might have been the Six Invitational 2018. It's been a while since we've seen this setup from Rogue, but it's an old classic that honestly didn't fail all that often. This hard-press contention into customs with the mirror windows facing in through Passport, full reinforcements towards Tellers, a lot of horizontal control, which is antithetical to the norm, honestly, on Border, where you're used to holding vertically. That is your number one point everyone likes to hit home, is you need to hold Border vertically, and yet we're seeing a lot of horizontal play and not a lot of vertical pressure here from Rogue.
Well, we'll see what kind of pressure Vertical brings to this, playing the Vigil. I wouldn't be surprised at all that he maneuvers around the map, as he's doing right now. And there you go. He'll find kill number one. Necrox, the first man eliminated. It's the last man alive in the previous round. And kind of nobody in there, no drones anywhere. And the Vigil obviously counters that pretty easily, but now he can maneuver around and find another one. Oh! Geo down and Vertical. Well played. That's a huge bit of kills. No impact grenades left with him, but his damage is already done. If he dies right now, it doesn't matter. He's done it all.
He's taking down both Geo and Necrox, and the big thing is that's Necrox taken down first as the Jackal. You lose your ability to isolate Vertical for free across the map. Slash with a P90 will drive Canadian the Ash as well. Not finding any kills, and an impact trick onto the hatch. A Nitro Cell will detonate just Errant as well, and will not connect onto Young. NVK holding the top of Metal Stairs, and they still have Vertical to worry about. They haven't even remotely come close to clearing him out of the top floor, and as we just eclipsed the midway point in the round, NVK will rotate through Archives as Evil Geniuses, Young and NVK, the last two surviving members, floundering to find something, and they're going to walk straight into a mirror setup.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to be able to deal with this, and Eclipse can just stand behind the desk. He can just look down the walls that are reinforced. Everything is looking great for him, but NVK will spray in and find Slash at least in the back. Put an exothermic charge on the side of the wall as barricade is being destroyed. Eclipse can just sit back, as we said, easily just waiting to time his smoke canister. You have to drone to 50 seconds left, and Young is just going to hold angles, awaiting in Vertical. Will pounce, find the kill on MVK. Last alive is spotted in the back, all alone in the back office. Vertical trying to do even more damage. His shotgun will go in, and Eclipse will find the last one. Rogue with an excellent bit of play. Beautiful. Beautiful on the way they just held on to the site, but also their own for Vertical. Just put EG off balance.
That's a tough roam clear if you're Evil Geniuses. It's one man on an island upstairs with zero support and zero utility, just a couple of impact nades, and Vertical's fragging ability. But this is something that was touched on heading into the break for Rogue, is that their roles seem mismanaged. And now with Vertical back on a fragging role, they seem to be back in the driver's seat in control of their own destiny. That one for EG right there, that's a poorly executed roam clear up top. Just not enough devotion to the drone work. Obviously, it is a Vigil. But you also have Necrox. Like I said, the Jackal, the ability to isolate Vertical for free globally. All you got to do is find some footprints, and he's the first one to fall.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Surprising we're not seeing any Dokkaebi trying to deal with that sort of play, but bringing in the IQ might be a bit of help in this situation, and an alibi. If she were so useless, why would they play her? It's not a jab at anyone.
Sure about that?
100% clear. But Canadian will lose one of his Twitch drones early on. As you can see, his icon is now grayed out, so that's not great. But it is a response from EG to say, okay, well, there's a Mira. Let's bring something to try and deal with her. The Hibana is definitely a great operator to have in this situation. Okay. It's so inconsistent. I know.
So that's a common spot where that will happen. I believe it has some interaction with the carpet as a hitbox.
Yeah.
So that won't happen anywhere else, but that is a common spot where that does kind of not function as intended, we will say.
Yeah, trust me, as someone who's into carpets, that is...
What?
That's a pretty tough carpet to deal with. I want to know what it's made of.
Detention focus immediately for Evil Geniuses, and they seemed well aware of the roaming presence this time around. Slashlag over an armory, and you've got Eclipse inside a CC behind the circle monitors. And a third man now join them up top. So it's a top floor presence this time around from Rogue, counteracting their full, almost horizontal pressure of the previous round. Obviously defending an alternative bomb site here, Customs. Something we see about as often as we see Bathroom Tellers. We never really see a defensive-sided majority game on Border.
No, not the case, but you know, it's a site that works fairly often. Well, not as much as we'd like it to. And oh no, there you go. And the ADS, yes, there you go. It's a way to do it. Just stand between the legs of the Mira, and it's going to make it a bit more difficult to get the kill off of it. But now easily loses his biggest advantage there, but Eclipse is able to just jump up and finally kill a Canadian. Huge here, no more Twitch drones. They were both eliminated anyways, but the firepower of the F2 is out. NVK is low in HP. You might be close to, you know, moving onto the site itself, but it doesn't really matter that much if you're low on manpower and your operators that are so required for the assault are just away. EMP is going to get dropped in, as you can hear. IQ just scanning around to spot any sort of utility. Shuttle should be able to delete the Hibana X-Kairos, and there you go. No timing on this at all. One set still remaining. They have a spot on one of the players in the back, but it's just not enough. They can't really move through easily, even though he lost his Mira window. Eclipse is doing such a great job of kind of supporting him in the back.
You see the aggression coming out for Rogue, and this might be an intended playstyle, considering we've seen in the past Evil Geniuses have difficulties with more aggressive playstyles of teams. And this will be Necrox deploying a smoke grenade at the break room door. Oh! What a shot by Eclipse on the turn! Going in for two in the break room, but Necrox will trade one out, and there goes Geo with another. We're leveling man count, but there's not a lot of time left on the clock. Still have full sight control downstairs. Vertical completely dropping down Geo as he was unaware of the position in the back of Archives. Young will use his last round of X-Kairos, and footprints coming out for Necrox at the top of the CCTV cubby hatch. Pings will come out into supply room, but Vertical holding on the off angle, waiting for a hallway push. There's no way to get in through that peak hole. There's 15 seconds, and it's all coming down to this. The choking out asphyxiation now of those bolts coming in as Young is pushing in with the diffuser, and he'll take down Vertical and miss peak there. Rushing through the smoke, and Necrox will claim another victim. It's all up to Shuttle now on 25 HP with the plant going down in the back. All he has to do is rush in and stop it. Oh, but he drops Young. But Necrox not too far behind, in behind the rack. An unimaginable round right there. And EG somehow salvage it.
That got way too close for comfort for both teams. And EG able to salvage things after these sorts of plays. They want it. Both teams really want it so bad. And it's great to watch. It's great to be the people that kind of sit back and see this firsthand because, man, the level of plays that got us through this with Rogue. Unfortunate that they end up losing the round, at least for them, but EG with a great comeback that was really required. The push through the smoke was not something that you expect at all, and kudos to Necrox. Just move in with a Jackal, find the kill on the alibi. They knew the alibi was in the back. He used the information that he had perfectly, and through all the commotion, was able to kind of sneak through, get the kill on the alibi before she could notice where he was. And at that point, there was only one position you could move through. That was the only flank. He lost his teammate as he went for the plant. He's watching the opposite angle, coming in from the stairs. You turn around, get the last one. The Bandit's too low in HP to do anything at that point. And it's just great play and reaction game overall with just so few seconds left. Rogue will go back up now to the armor. As we saw in the very first round, we'll see if they set this up in a different way. What we saw, look at the amount of kills on Rogue's side as well. EG haven't gotten really many, but what they've gotten were more than enough for them to at least get that one round that they had on the board.
Well, something we touched on in the game between Rogue and Accelerate 2 weeks ago is that Rogue have a propensity lately to be vulnerable to momentous pushbacks on border specifically. They grab those first 2 rounds against Evil Geniuses the first time they meet, and EG run it back 6 in a row. They claw 1 back to try and stave off the 7 in a row, but eventually will fall. It's been a story for Rogue, honestly. There's been a lot of long runs against Rogue on border, just round after round after round, and they can't seem to stop the tidal wave of force coming at them. That's one round where you look like you're in strong control of your Rogue, but it's an offsite. It's your tertiary bomb site. It's not your prime focus, although...
What are you doing? Oh.
Beautiful drone work there as Gio will cut down vertical laying prone on top of the shelving rack.
Literally the second time we see this in the week.
Yes, it happened last week for Latin America.
Just don't do that. Anyways. Mistakes happen, even to the best of us. We both know that. Eclipse setting up here on the window. Potential round out to deal with the IQ, but no, just gonna run away and go back up the stairs. He's being jackal tracked, so he's gonna be worrying about Necrox potentially. C4 to open up the hatch, but there's nobody in there. There's at least a reinforced wall behind him to block line of sight, as he does have Slash to kind of peek in from the fountain and help him out. But this is a very open defense from Rogue. It's a lot of flexibility to it. It can leave you very vulnerable to your opponents using those against you. As what Devin would say, holes work both ways, but Rogue has been very famous for using these sorts of very flexible open setups to their huge advantages for quite a while. Well, that's gonna work against them at least. Find one here, and that's Gio. And easily with a second on NVK. Canadian Necrox will chime in with 1 each. Eclipse the last man alive. He'll spray and actually take down Young. Is being tracked as we speak, and with so little health. It's Necrox to get the finisher yet again. Ahmad is just racking up the kills.
Good return to form there for Evil Geniuses after a notably sloppy first 2 rounds. And Rogue had so much control in the first couple rounds, but you lose it there. You now draw even at a 2-2. You've got 2 more rounds remaining on the defense. This really looked like it was trending in a strong Rogue fashion, but hey, props to Evil Geniuses for the resiliency and their ability to refocus. They'll now continue to attack, and the one I would say monumental change in the lineup for Evil Geniuses so far has been the swap from a Hibana to a Thermite. The first time that Evil Geniuses really looked vulnerable way back in Season 8, the beginning of Season 8. I know I'm going back into the history books here for this one, but it was a game against then SK, now known as Dark Zero, where the op bans were just introduced that season. Then known as SK, banned Thermite on border against Evil Geniuses, and Evil Geniuses completely fell apart, only having the disposability of the Hibana as their breach because Maverick didn't exist at the time. Again, I know I'm going way back here.
I don't know if that's way back.
The benefit of bringing the Thermite is the better surface area you can cover, the better angles there. When they were just putting poke holes in the walls with the Hibana X Kairos, they were all peeking that nice little 3x2 pattern, and it was an easy lineup, and it allowed more maneuverability for Rogue. You saw last time around, or the first time that EG attacked this site and Rogue defended it, I believe it was Slash on the Vigil inside a fountain behind soft walls for almost a minute and a half. When you have that Thermite opening, there's way too much surface area open, way more angles you have to be accountable for. It's just a more intimidating factor to worry about if you're Rogue on the defense, and it forces them to peel back and really consolidate on the objective. It was a good change for EG, and they level things.
Yeah, and obviously the 2 operators kind of function in their own way. On the surface, we've talked about this a few times, but on the surface, a lot of operators seem that they do the same thing, but they're side grades of one another. Each one does a different thing, even though on the surface, it's literally just opening a hole in the wall, right? is, you know, the Habana has more precise holes when you can open more of them, but you're kind of limited on how big of a hole you can have, and it requires so much utility. Thermite just limited on the size because you always open up the same size, and it's, you know, you can bandit trick it, or you can trick it in general with impact, etc. Much easier than anything else. And oh man, no, Eclipse will find the first one. No damage taken against Canadian. Oh, this is huge. They're just EG cannot find that early footing in any one of these rounds.
Well, instead of going for that office balcony stack immediately this time around in the first minute of the round anyway, they will attend much pressure towards the break room and CCTV and the armory balcony, seemingly swapping up the push from last time. A successful office push is met with an attempted armory side push, and they lose Canadian. Their pressure on the sandwich window, a beautiful pre-fire from Eclipse. They have the wall open, but they don't really have a lot of pressure anywhere else, and they don't have anyone downstairs currently to deal with this mirror inside a small office. Nobody watching flank either for Slash. It's a very one spot focused push right now for Evil Geniuses. Very single-minded.
Well, in the meantime, Eclipse still in the back and just playing by half wall. Necrox has spotted him, but they need to take care of him, and they are going to be able to do it. So usually you just do this from below and pushing away. There's 3 rifles that are trained at you as well. You just bring the Ash of NVK to the bottom floor into ventilation and just an easy use of recharge to push any player out of it. A lot of times the Buck will do that as well. In this case, the Ash doesn't really matter. Sometimes the Zofia even then does it, as long as you have that soft breach. A lot of fire and a lot of damage done to Slash, but it's all smoke and mirrors so far. Nothing really enough to take away the players off of the board for Rogue, as the players just going to sit back behind their mirror windows, sit tight as Geo is locking things in. EG at the 30-second mark going to try to go for the push. Geo will find the first one. That's easily. The advantage goes for the attack, as Shuttle will get one more onto Young, denying the plant, and another one as well. Necrox running right into him. Can he get the third? No, it's NVK to get the kill, and a spray. Shuttle now with 3 kills. Shotgun in hand, not enough to flick onto Geo. Softwall in the back, vertical. Has full HP and time is on his side. All he needs to do is just to move in, find the kill. They're going to try to stick it. No, the IQ turns around for the kill. Oh, Geo, he does it! The last second spray to the head. 1 second on the clock. We saw Nyx doing this weeks upon weeks ago, and look at that dancing. Geo, there's a mariachi band playing somewhere, because this man is just en fuego.
Oh, wow. Remember when we came into the game?
I do remember that.
Long, momentous runs against Rogue on border.
Yeah,
that's 2 rounds now. The customs and supply room defense, and that round. That if you're Rogue, you're looking back on and going, probably should have won those.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see Rogue get demoralized here. They're going to try for a 3rd straight attempt now to go to Armory Lockers and Archives. Everything was going in the way of Rogue there. The time management, they still had the small office mirror. They get the first pick onto Canadian 2 on the sandwich window without sacrificing any utility, either of the mirrors. They get both the Twitch runs illuminated extremely early on. You have time control, 20 seconds left, and the diffuser's lost in a shroud of smoke, and Shuttle's lining them up and knocking them down. And it all comes down to Geo in a 1v2 clutch. And man, does he pull that off brilliantly. Oh, you gotta feel for that one if you're Rogue.
That's that 1 second clutch, man. He knew, I either plant or I kill. And the Jaeger got duped. You plagued yourself.
Camera in position.
That's a tough one. That's just demoralizing. Like you're right. There's nothing really more to that round, at least in the end portion of that, other than Geo went huge, and yeah, Vert kind of got played. Geo played him like a book, and
you play a book?
Sorry, read him like a book.
There you go. What do you play? Play him like a guitar. Oh damn.
Play him like a fiddle is the expression.
I've never played. Do you play a fiddle?
Hell no.
You know, I've heard this story about a devil that went down to Georgia.
Anyway.
He was looking for a soul to sing.
Anyway. Coming back into the game, again, CCTV pressure for Evil Geniuses, but it's just Necrox, and he's not dying in the first minute alone inside of break room this time. And that's another point that I want to kind of touch on here for Rogue is they've lost that kind of aggressive edge they came out the gates firing with. You know, you had Vertical prone under radio desk window for the first round for a minute and a half. Where are those plays from Rogue? It seems like they're consolidating. It seems like they're peeling back and not getting aggressive. They're turtling a little bit, and it seems like EG are walking all over them for it. And there goes an exothermic charge, I imagine, onto trip wall outside of offices. You've got Canadian downstairs being dispatched by Eclipse again without taking a single point of damage.
Oh man, Canadians just not having the best of games so far. Rogue's roam play is really excellent. They're doubling down on it, and Vertical finds one more. That's NVK out of the picture. Vertical and Eclipse both running the Alibi and the Vigil. They're doing a decent chunk of work here, taking away the buck. So now, you know, plays around half wall are going to be very difficult to deal with because you don't have that breach anymore. And, you know, it's at least the one redeeming factor is that, well, you didn't really need a Thatcher because there's no Bandit. You know, always look on the bright side of life.
Necrox slowly pushing his way up metal. I imagine he's trying to find a different defender to isolate here, and he will find some more footprints, but it's Eclipse's footprints once again. He's unable to scan them because he's already got him on ping. One more rotation, he'll most likely rescan Eclipse. Necrox will take down Slash, but Eclipse on the immediate trade. The man he was hunting will hunt his hunter back. A lot of hunting being done, but Vertical inside of office, inside of the sandwich. There goes Geo looking skyward for cameras, and Eclipse will round it out. The first half will come to a close at a draw 3-3. Young falls outside of the Archives balcony, and it's a good stop to the bleeding there for Rogue. They head up 2-0 early. It's a good run back there from EG, and probably a couple rounds they should not have won. Good resiliency there, but Rogue able to equalize. And we head into the half. Another border game goes 3-3 into the half. Not a big shock there either.
No. Border is obviously one of those more balanced maps where each side has their own line of flexibility, and both teams kind of played it pretty well. There were rounds where it got way too close, and I have to say, EG pulled off a couple clutch rounds that maybe should not have happened, but it does, and it does highlight the sometimes overexpendability that Rogue have in mind, and the Doc Rook combo, something that EG is very famous for. So see how that works out for the team, as it looks like with the Smoke, with the Jaeger, with the Mira, a very old school lineup for Border and for really any map in general. But this will allow EG to kind of turtle in and not have to worry too much about explosives from opponents. There's only one set of grenades they'll have to deal with from Slash on the Buck, also an iconic operator for him. But Vertical running the Jackal is going to be able to clear out any roams. In this case, it's not going to be a ton of it. Maybe NVK to deal with him behind that, behind the circle desk. I'm not too sure. Eclipse having, though, the Zofia, that's got to be great to clear an operator like the Jaeger that usually is just going to stick around in CCTV for ages and maybe have some support from either the Rook or the Doc.
One thing I really want to commend Evil Geniuses for as well in that first half was their flexibility. Like you pointed out, Canadian not having the greatest game frag-wise, so they cycled through his role plenty of times over. They swap out the Hibana for the Thermite as well. There were plenty of cycles there from rolls back and forth for each member, as well as operators being swapped in and out. So Evil Geniuses continuing their run of being some of the most dynamic players on one team in the world. I have G2 probably leading that charge in that conversation, but Evil Geniuses, their dynamic play and their ability to be flexible can't be underrated.
That's very true. And that flexibility is what makes champions. Seen them do it once. It's been a while, but...
In a while.
Yes, it was there. But sometimes you get superseded. That doesn't mean that you're still not really good at what you do. Definitely what EG are showing, and what Rogue really wants to really see themselves as. The player in the back here to support the defense. Yeah, that's only one. Canadian will get taken away again, but it's Geo for the refrag on a Vertical. So at least that's one to trade away. I like the style of reinforcement that EG are running here, but because of the amount of soft destruction that they've left open to Rogue, this might come back to bite them. There's a lot of damage done to Slash in the back from NVK. Overall, things kind of stabilize, but a lot of time has been burned off.
Yeah, we eclipsed the mid.